In my previous video on the new checkboxes, we received a lot of requests for an explanation on how I created the Show Details checkbox. So in this video, I'm going to walk through the setup. It's a great opportunity to learn some advanced formulas and a lot of new Excel functions. So let's get to it. So I'll first give a quick demo of the Show Details checkbox. Here I have a list of invoices, and when I check a checkbox here, that's going to show the detailed line items from this invoice. There's two line items for this invoice. If we check this one, we have 5 line items, and we can see all of those line items here. Another example is call details or contact details. So we can see all the phone numbers we have for contacts or customers when we click the checkbox. And then this example was a suggestion from Tony on our original YouTube video where we can see expense details for jobs or projects. And this technique just uses conditional formatting and one single formula to make all of this work. So let's take a look at the setup. So let's first take a look at the ingredients needed for this setup. And I should mention that I'll make this file available for free download and put a link to it in the description below. I have 2 tables here. On the follow along sheet, I have the table that contains all of the orders. And we have an order ID in this column right here. These are all unique values. 1 row equals 1 order. And then the other table is on this sales data sheet. And this is where I have all of the details or the line items for each order. You can see right here that we have the order ID repeating 4 times. That's because there are 4 rows or 4 line items for this specific order. And then back on this other sheet, I have a column of checkboxes, and you'll have to be on a version of Excel that supports the new checkboxes. I'll put a link in the description below with more details on that as well. So the first step is to write the formula. And over on this show details sheet, I actually have the formula in cell H4 here. Now it's a bit of a monster, so we're gonna go through this step by step. And I'll jump back over to the follow along sheet. The first component here is going to be the filter function. Filter is essentially a lookup formula that's going to allow us to return all of those results for each invoice. So I'll tab into filter. Our array is going to be the information that we want to return. So we'll jump back over to the sales data sheet here. In this case, we just want to return the product name and the quantity. You can return as many columns as you'd like. You can also return non-adjacent columns. I have a separate video on filter that explains more about that. But for now, we'll just return these 2 columns. Now for our include argument, this is the filter criteria. And we want to specify the order ID column here. And we're going to say when that's equal to, so I'm going to type equals right here, go back over to the follow along sheet. And for right now, I'm just going to specify the order number right here. So we'll just say at that row, when that's at that row, we'll go ahead and hit enter. And that of course is going to return multiple rows for that specific order. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I did leave a blank column between the table and the formula, so the table doesn't automatically expand when we input the formula. So next we're going to integrate the checkbox. As of right now, if we were to check a checkbox in this column, nothing happens with our results. And that's because this filter function is still just looking up this order ID. And we really needed to look up this order ID because this checkbox is checked in this row. In order to do that, we're going to edit our formula here. I'm going to hit F2 on the keyboard to edit the formula. And we want to change this reference here, again from this cell to a result, which would be this cell. And we're going to use index match for this. So I'm going to first start typing index. We'll tab into that. For the index, the array is going to be the order ID column. We want to return or look up the order IDs, and that's what index match is going to help us do. I'm going to type a comma. For the row number, we're going to use the match function. And actually, I'm going to use the XMATCH function, the XMATCH function, because it requires less arguments. It does an exact match by default. The lookup value for XMATCH is going to be a true value. And that's because the checkbox here, when the checkbox is checked, it returns a true value to this cell. So this cell actually contains a true value. I'll go ahead and type a comma. Our lookup array is going to be the details column. So essentially what this is going to do, it's going to look for a true value down this column. Once it finds that, it's going to stop, return the row number, match will return the row number to index, and index will return this order ID here. We'll go ahead and close parentheses on match or XMATCH, close parentheses on index, hit enter, and now we will see the results for this row here. And if we were to uncheck this and check another row, we can see that we just get 2 items here. So next we need to move our results down so they align with the row where we checked the checkbox. And this is where things get fun. We're going to use a few different functions. The first one is the expand function. And you might not have seen the expand function before, so I'm going to explain it over here. I'm going to select just a blank cell out over here. I'm going to type equals expand, and we'll tab into that. Expand is going to expand an array, a certain number of rows or columns. So for our array, we're just going to select 2 blank cells. I'll just select these cells up here at the top. You just want to select 2 blank cells where you make sure that you're not going to override or input any data in those cells. So we'll select those 2, comma. Right now for the rows argument, I'm just going to type a 3 in here and we'll replace that later. I'll go ahead and hit enter, and you can see that this has created a spill range that's 3 rows tall by 2 columns wide, and those are the 2 columns that we originally selected over here. Now we're getting some NA errors at the bottom of this, and that's because expand doesn't know what to put at the bottom. And for this, we can use the optional pad width argument. So I'm going to do comma twice, and then I'm just going to return blanks. So I'm going to type 2 quotation marks to return blanks in the cells, and now we just have this spill range, or this array of blank cells. So next we need to add this array of blanks to the top of our formula over here. I'm going to go ahead and delete this formula. We don't need this. And we're going to edit our existing formula. I'm going to do that up here in the formula bar, just to make it a little easier to see. You can expand the formula bar by just dragging it up here to making it taller or shorter. And right up here, we're going to use the VSTACK function to stack our expanded array with our filter function. So we're going to start typing equals VSTACK right here at the beginning of our formula. We'll tab into that. VSTACK vertically stacks arrays. So our first array here for VSTACK is going to be the results of the expand function. So we'll type expand, we'll tab into that. Again, the array for expand is just going to be these 2 blank cells, type a comma. For the number of rows, we're going to use the results of XMATCH. So I'm just going to select the XMATCH formula right here and hit Control-C to copy it. And then we'll paste it right here. And again, XMATCH is going to return the row number where it finds a true. So in this case, it'll return a 3 to the expand function. After that, we'll type a comma. We don't need to specify columns, but comma again. And then that pad width will be 2 quotation marks to return blanks. We'll close the parentheses on that, and then we'll type a comma. So we're going to VSTACK both our expand and our filter function. We just need to add a closing parentheses out at the end. We'll go ahead and hit enter, and we can now see that the results are moving down. And if we were to uncheck this checkbox and check this one down here, again, results are moving down because of the expand. It's 1 row too low right now, but of course we'll fix that. Next, we're going to add a header row to our details here. This is optional, but I think it gives it a nice look. So we'll go ahead and edit our formula. Within the VSTACK here, we're going to go out to our, after our first array, and here we're just going to reference the cells in the header row here. So product name and quantity, I'll just reference those 2 cells and then type a comma. So now our VSTACK includes 3 arrays. First is the expand, second is the header row, and then third is the results of filter. We'll go ahead and hit enter, and we can see the new header row added right here. All right, let's move our details up a row here and get it aligned with the checkbox. For this, we're going to use the drop function. A lot of new functions used for this solution. So drop is going to drop rows or columns from the start or end of an array. In this case, we want to drop a row, 1 single row from the start. So the array here for drop is going to be the results here of our formula. Out at the very end, we're going to type a comma, and we want to drop 1 row off the top of it. So we're going to use a +1 to drop a row from the top. If you want to drop a row from the bottom, you'd use a -1, and of course you can specify as many rows as you want. So we'll close parentheses on that, hit enter, and now our details move up 1 row, and they're aligned with the checkbox. Next, we're going to improve the efficiency of our formula. So you might have noticed that our formula is using the XMATCH function twice, and it's the exact same formula. And this means Excel will have to calculate this formula twice when it calculates the larger formula. So in order to improve efficiency, we're going to use the let function. After equals, I'm going to start typing let. We'll tab into that. The first argument for let is the name, and this is essentially a variable, and we can assign it any name we want. I'm going to call it X row, which is going to stand for checked row. We'll type a comma. Next, we need the value that we want to assign to our variable. And for this, we're just going to copy the XMATCH function, hit Control-C to do that. I'll paste it right here and then type a comma. And the next step is that we need to take our xRow variable and we're going to copy that, and then we're going to replace any of the occurrences of the XMATCH function with xRow. So I'll do both of those right here. And so what's going to happen is when Excel calculates now, it's first going to calculate XMATCH once, assign the result to xRow, and then xRow will be used and reused throughout our formula. We'll go ahead and close parentheses at the end and hit enter. We're going to get the exact same result, but with a more efficient formula. And since we're only using this formula once on this sheet, it's not going to make any drastic improvements in calculation time. If you're copying it down thousands of rows, it absolutely would. But later in the video, we're going to change our XMATCH formula slightly, and we will only need to do that one time. And if none of the checkboxes are checked, our formula is going to return an error. We can handle this with the IFERROR function. So at the beginning of the formula here, I'm going to type equals IFERROR. We'll tab into that. The value is just going to be our let formula there. And then out at the end, we'll type a comma, 2 quotation marks to return a blank. If it is an error, close parentheses and hit enter. Now we'll get a blank, but when we check a checkbox, we will get the results. All right, so now we're going to apply the conditional formatting to make this look nice. First thing I'm going to do is just collapse the formula bar here. Control-Shift-U is the keyboard shortcut on that because we don't really need to work with that. I'm going to double click the Home tab to expand my ribbon down, and we're going to work with conditional formatting. Now before we do that, I'm going to select here this first cell over to the column to the right, and then I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom of the table. Actually, I'm going to go past the bottom of the table because we're going to have at least 6 rows that would display past the bottom of the table here. You can extend down this selection even further if your table is going to expand in the future. So with that selection, we're going to go conditional formatting, new rule. We're going to use a formula. This is a relatively simple formula. I'm going to type equals here, scroll back up. I'm going to select cell H4. I'm going to hit F4 on the keyboard 3 times to make the column letter absolute. The row number will be relative. Then we're going to type not equal, so less than, greater than, and then a blank. So 2 quotation marks for blanks here. So when H4 is not blank, we'll say format. In the formatting we want to apply, the fill color will just be a light gray fill. For border, we will choose this blue color here for the border and choose an outline there. We'll go ahead and hit OK. Hit OK again. You can see that my formatting is being applied for all of the non-blank cells here in this selection. We also want to format the header row here. So again, conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula. Here we're going to say equals. Again, select that same cell, F4 on the keyboard 3 times for, again, that mixed reference. Here we're going to say when this is equal to, and we want to equal it to the word product name. Now you could type product name in here in quotation marks, or what I'm going to do in case that changes, I'm going to go over to the source of that and just click this cell right here, F1 on the sales data sheet. And then format for the fill, we can just choose a light blue fill. Also for the font, I want to make that bold, and we'll hit OK again, and now we have a formatted header. And again, since this is conditional formatting, when we check another checkbox, all of that conditional formatting is going to automatically reapply to all of these non-blank cells, or in this case, this row that contains a specific value. And I also applied formatting to the row where the checkbox was checked in this table. To do that, I'm going to select this first cell here that contains a checkbox. I'm going to hit Control A on the keyboard to select all the cells in the table. Again, conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula. And this is going to be a very simple formula. We're going to say equals. We're going to select this cell that contains a checkbox. Since that's going to contain either a true or false value, that's automatically going to evaluate to a true or false. So we don't have to put any other conditions here. Again, that same mixed referencing, F4 on the keyboard 3 times. For the format, we're going to choose that same fill color. Go ahead and hit OK. Hit OK again, and now that will also light up this row as it's checked. Again, we'll check a different one here. We can see this lights up along with our details. So one common question is, what happens if multiple checkboxes are checked? As of right now, it's just going to return the results for the first checked checkbox, and that's because XMATCH is returning the first result. However, I have a few workarounds and solutions for this. The first thing we can do is modify our formula. We're actually going to modify the XMATCH function. XMATCH has a fourth argument called search mode, so we're going to type 2 commas. It can also search last to first by specifying a -1. So go ahead and do that, type -1 and hit enter. And now what's going to happen is XMATCH is going to search in reverse order from bottom to top, and as soon as it finds a checked checkbox, it's then going to return the results. So you can actually use this as more of a checklist where you're checking items off, and as you go down, you will see all the results for the last checked item. And then I have another solution that will show an error message when multiple checkboxes are checked to just let the user know they can only check one checkbox. It even shows the rows where the checkboxes are checked in case you have some filtered rows, which makes this a little bit easier. For this, I'll just explain the solution. I won't type it all out just for the sake of time. But what I've done is added this if formula here to our formula. And this is saying that if this count ifs is equal to 1, and the count ifs is just going to count the number of true values in the details column, if that's equal to 1, then we'll go ahead and return the details, our let function. If it's false, then we're going to return the value in cell M4 for all of the true values in this column here. And M4 has another formula in it. Here I'm also using the if function on this column, and I'm returning the row number wherever that is true. And this is actually going to return a series of numbers and then blanks here. So we have 4 and 7, those are the checked values. And then I'm using text join, and specifically the ignore empty argument in text join, setting that to true to just remove all those empty or blank values. So text join is going to essentially just create a list of the values there, 4 and 7, and we're concatenating that or joining that with this phrase here. You can make whatever phrase you'd want there to give us this error message, and then that error message is just being displayed here. And I also have some conditional formatting applied here. I'll go ahead and show that for when the value in column the value in column H equals M4, then it's just going to turn the text red and stop when that is true to give us this nice warning message. And one thing I forgot to explain, you'll notice within our formula here, each of these components or functions is on a new line. And to do this, you can just, I'll hit the delete key here. You can hold down Alt and hit Enter, and that's going to create a line break and put this on a new line. It doesn't change the calculation or the output at all, but it just can make the formula a bit easier to read. So I'm curious to know how you will be using this technique, or if it sparked any ideas for other ways to use these formulas in conditional formatting. Leave a comment below and let us know. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and consider subscribing. And if you want to learn other advanced Excel techniques, then check out this video next. Thanks again for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.